Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another live stream Saturday. I hope you guys have had a great week, and thank you for requesting that over on Patreon, that start to the show tonight, because unfortunately it's depressingly apt, that particular song, with everything that's going on at the moment in the world, which I'll just reference at the beginning of this. As you guys all know about the situation in Ukraine and all that stuff going on, I can't help but feel like, probably with you, that we've been born in an age where our brains are too developed for the brains that are around, considering the fact that there's somebody in charge of a country who can be doing what he is doing at the moment. So anyway, needless to say, our thoughts are all with Ukraine, and we're going to be going through the live stream as normal and doing our pick roulette. Everything is just a big, a shame. It's really a disgrace what's happening with Russia and Ukraine at the moment, and just with Russia, I don't think Ukraine can really do a lot about it. But anyway, just to reference that at the beginning of the live stream. But like I said, I hope you guys have had a good week, and let me get you guys up on screen to see who is in the live chat room tonight. And we have Vince in there, and Valerie, and Laurie, and Charlie, and Sam, and Paul, and Dwayne, and Carl, and Tom going through there. Bob's in their house, Constantia as well, and Danielle, Richard about to go through, Tortoro, Porco, and thank you guys for joining in. I think that they're going to start moving through too quickly, but it's a Saturday night again. We are voting at the moment. I believe it's Don't Slow Down that's in the lead on the poll for tonight's cover video. So you'll see that in the live chat room. If you want to have a vote as to which video we're going to be watching a little bit later on, make sure you do that. It's between Don't Slow Down and Parisian Walkways. So if you have a favourite song out of those two, by the way, Don't Slow Down, that's the Mr. track, just in case you don't know that one. But it is in the lead, and it was suggested quite a lot over on Patreon, so we'll see how the voting goes tonight. Let me get everything up on screen that we normally have. First of all, my patrons who make this possible in the first place. Massive shout out to you guys at the bottom of the screen. Their names go across every single live stream, and their names do pop up in the donation windows as well. So thank you guys so much for all of your support over there, and then all of your support here on the live streams as well. We have the likes goal set tonight at 310, so if you can leave a thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be massively appreciated. If we do hit our target of 310, it means that we will have a pick roulette next week, and the entry for that opens up after tonight's pick roulette, so that'll be happening later on in the live stream. So stay tuned if you want to get your name on the pick roulette for next week and potentially win a signed Wings of Pegasus pick, or a t-shirt if we land on a t-shirt and then we spin that wheel. Anyway, I'm sure you guys are used to it. If not, just stay tuned and you'll get used to how it goes and just the procedure that we go through. By the way, if this is your first live stream, just introduce yourself into that live chat room. That's what everybody does to begin with, and then we all get to know each other and get used to these usernames that go through the screen. I'm just going to move that a little bit across so that we can see it a bit more clearly in the live chat room. Let me get the donations tab up on screen so that you know that 35 to 45% goes to YouTube through the super chat donation window, and that's in the comments section in the live chat room. And on PayPal is between 3 and 5%. So just so you know, if you make a donation, where that money goes and how much of it comes to me in the channel and how much goes to the other places. But anyway, you don't have to donate. Just if you really feel like you want to, then you can, but by no means do you have to. So anyway, just talking about the donations, and first of all, I'm just going to mention about my wrist, my left wrist, which thankfully is pretty much recovered, I would say, to the point of being able to do some shapes on the guitar. The only problem is that my right arm, when I was lifting things around, and you guys over on Patreon already know this, but for those of you who don't, when I was moving things around, getting it organised for the interview with Phil Palmer, unfortunately, I stretched my arm and I lifted something in a bad way, and I've managed to get quite a lot of medial epicondylitis, I think it's called, in my right arm, which means pretty much I'm having my arm in a sling, which I haven't got it in at the moment, but there's my sling, just in case you want to see that. So that's what I'm wearing pretty much most of the day in order to keep my elbow bent, because I can't straighten my right arm at the moment, which is a bit of a pain, but I'm pretty much able to get away with it because I can rest my arm on the table and not have any weight on my arm during the live stream. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and hopefully that will be okay and I won't feel my arm at all. If it starts to ache a little bit, then I might just have my hand on my lap. But anyway, it's always the case that I've been waiting, how long? Maybe 2 months, a little bit longer, for my wrist to get okay, and now the right arm has kicked off, and I'm hoping that it's only going to be a week or two for that and it won't be a serious injury. But that is why I'm going to be mostly doing most movements of the live stream with my left hand, and I'm still going to be moving my mouse with the right hand, but hopefully I won't be clicking. I mean, I click on all the wrong things anyway when I've got full functionality. So we'll see what happens. It could be a wild live stream with me clicking on all the wrong buttons. But anyway, just to keep you in the loop about my various injuries that I've got going on. And unfortunately, it's just gone from one injury to another one. But like I said, hopefully that won't be too long, and we'll be back to playing the guitar very soon. So let me move on with the live stream into those donations that came in before we went live. Thank you guys for these, because we had a donation that came in from Jennifer that was for $10, so thank you for that. And the message was, my favourite band of all time, the Funk Brothers. Who is your top 5 fave bands and songwriters? Hope you will do an analysis of Hank Ballard. So thank you for that, Jennifer. And well, this is one of those questions that could go on for years to answer, just purely because I don't really rank my favorite bands or, best bands or songwriters and all that kind of stuff. But if I had to come up with some, obviously Jimi Hendrix, you guys will know that, just because that's the reason I started playing the guitar. So Jimi Hendrix, along the same lines, Gary Moore. Then moving away from that, and I'm not putting these in any order, these are just guitarists and bands that I listen to. John Sykes, David Coverdale, writing, singing and playing as well, and the work that they did on the Whitesnake album, which I have on my workout playlist. Not that I've worked out in a while because of injuries, but that's on there. Red Beach, Kip Winger from Winger, the band. They're writing collectively, but Kip Winger as well as a writer, vocalist, Red Beach as a player. Obviously the Beatles, getting into just songwriters, obviously you've got to mention Lennon McCartney, the Beatles, and that's from my youth as well, because my parents used to have the Beatles playing pretty much all the time, whether in the car or in the house. Hard rock in the 80s, again, Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen as a player, but Van Halen, the band. Anyway, George Michael, that's another voice of my youth, but then also as a writer, having that in there. But, there are a few names that I've thrown in there, and they're totally random. And this is the thing about the music that I listened to growing up. It is pretty much random, and there are loads of other artists, songwriters that I have listened to as a kid, but those are the ones that just pop up and include a bit of the hard rock influence in there as well, which I listened to mostly when I started playing the guitar and getting into more advanced techniques. But just getting into 80s hard rock and 80s metal, a lot of the techniques that I was learning really did go hand in hand with those bands that I listened to in the 80s, or from the 80s. I didn't listen to them in the 80s, but then again, technically I might have done, but at the age of 6 or 7, I wouldn't have really known what I was listening to. So yeah, it would have probably been early 90s that I was listening to that. And in the early 90s, we're talking about Lynch Mob, for example, and Winger 89, 90, 91. So technically we are talking in the early 90s there. So yeah, I might have been listening to them at that point when I was just starting to maybe think about playing the guitar, but hadn't actually started yet. That's probably only in 93, 94 when I started to play the guitar. But anyway, thank you for that, Jennifer. Like I said, it's one of those I could go on all night talking about, bands, songwriters, guitarists, singers. But anyway, thank you for that, Jennifer. Paul has donated $2 as well. Thank you for that, Paul. And the message was, wow, 235k. Please spike those likes. Great idea there from Paul. And let's have a plug of the mug, even though we usually do that when Orlando donates. But Paul has beaten Orlando to the mark today. So there it is. If you want to get your hands on any merchandise, it's in the tray underneath this video, but you can get your hands on the hoodies, the t-shirts, just going to the link in the description below as well, which will lead you to the same store. It's spring.com. So just click on that to jump on the merchandise. If you do have any merch that you want to take a picture of yourself or the merch, you can upload it to the Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook. If you are a Facebook user, go over there, check it out, and you have... I'm going to try and point in the right direction with my other arm, because I usually do it all with my right arm with the pointing on the screens, so I'll be pointing in all the wrong directions. But anyway, in that live chat room is where a lot of the Wings of Pegasus supporters group members are, and they hang out over on that page on Facebook in between the live streams, so you guys can head over there to join in with the conversation. So we are at, let's have a look at the live likes, because we haven't got those on screen yet. We are at 221 likes so far, which means we're looking for another 89, is that? 89 likes. Hopefully my maths is correct. I do not know. It's too quick for me to try and work it out properly, but I'm going to just stick with that. If you could have a thumbs up, that would be great. If you haven't used your thumbs up in the live chat room, it really helps this channel to get out there, to grow, for the live streams to get out there a little bit more as well. So click on that little thumbs up. So I can see that Paul has just commented in the live chat room saying, I am Orlando's backup. So thank you for that, Paul. Right, now the next donation that I had that came in was from Jennifer for $5, and I was doing a little bit of stuttering there because I wasn't sure whether I'll have to, which actually I'm going to refresh the screen to see if any donations came in between that little spell. When we go live, everything disappears, so I just want to make sure that Jennifer's donation is the one that happened after Paul's, and it looks like it was. So anyway, no need to stutter. It is all going smoothly, so thank you for that, Jennifer. It is a $5 donation and says, Phil, Karen and Chipper needed some extra love today, so please say hi. So thank you for that, and hello to Karen and Chipper, who are usual stars of the live streams. We have looked at quite a few pictures of Karen and especially Chipper tuning into the live stream. As I always say, these live streams are animal friendly, so if you want to bring along any of your pets, absolutely fine. And if you want to take a picture, that's fine as well, because I have shown a few animal pictures on the live streams of various animals watching the live streams, but all fine by me. I am an animal lover myself. Anyway, thank you for that, Jennifer, on behalf of Karen and Chipper. And Stardust Unicorn is in the house, the support band to Wings of Pegasus, and has donated $5. Thank you for that. And the message is, spike the likes, with a smiley face with, it looks like, sunglasses on. So thank you for that. Thank you for those early donations. They are much appreciated. And just to throw in here, by the way, I'm going to be answering a question or two from Patreon, because with my arm and being able to type, I'm not the fastest typer in the world, or typist, whatever the correct word is. I'm not the fastest, so it means that when I'm answering questions over on Patreon and Facebook and other pages, I'm not able to write long replies, and generally I can't write long replies anyway, just purely because of the amount of messages and the amount of time it takes me to get through them. So I'm going to be answering a couple of messages in the live stream tonight from Patreon, just to let you guys know if you have asked me a question over on Patreon. But anyway, I think it was either 1 or 2, I can't remember, but I have the page and my message inbox over on Patreon, so I can access that during tonight's live stream. But anyway, Tammy donated £10 on Wednesday afternoon, so thank you for that, Tammy. I always try and go through all of the donations and try not to miss one, so just to let you guys know that Tammy donated on Wednesday. And to get things a little bit more up to date, there was a donation from oh, hang on, I think this might be one that's happened before that I've already addressed. I do not know. I tell you what, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I just mentioned Tammy's donation. I'm going to have a break from the PayPal donations purely because I'm not sure whether the ones that I'm looking at are the ones that happened on the last live stream or this live stream. I can see that they've already been read, but maybe that's a mistake. So anyway, oh, M, by the way, has donated $5 in that super chat window. Thank you for that. And the message is hello from the land of Oz. So hello to you. And over in Australia, I believe, from the messages that we've had before from Neil and Mario, that it's going to be early in the morning at the moment because of the time differences. So they're already quite a long way into Sunday. Here, you might be able to see the time up in the corner there, which is 12:21 a.m. here in the UK. It's a little bit too small on my screen, but I've got another clock over there that I can look at. So it's, yeah, technically Wednesday here, but Wednesday is technically Sunday. I mean, we do live stream on Tuesdays as well, so on a Tuesday live stream it's always technically Wednesday, but on this Saturday live stream it is technically Sunday, and it's going to be Sunday over in Australia as well. So hello to you, M, and thank you for that donation tonight. Anyway, during the live stream tonight we're going to be having our same cover video that we have a vote on. Let's see what we're doing with that. Don't slow down. It's down to 58%, so keep on voting on that for whichever one you want to see. And 269 likes. We have had a bit of a spike, so thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. We are closing in on 310, and it's 22 minutes past midnight. We are quite early on with our lights, getting close to the target, so we'll see where we end up with that. Right, let's have a little look into the chat room and see the names in there. We have Tom in there and Ron, Tom and Ron, and Rich and Laurelie and Tortoro Pocket still in there with Steve as well, and Laurie and Shelley, Francis as well. As I've said before in the live streams, I'm looking at the screen in front of me, which does have the feed of the live chat room, but what I don't have access to is the actual video, so I'm not watching myself back. So I am taking for granted, I generally think that if I can see the comments going through the live chat room, that I am live and that you can hear me and it's all fine. And I do rely on you guys to let me know if it's all fine, but more importantly, if it's not working. And if you guys can let me know if it's not working, that is great. So I'm assuming by you guys just keeping on chatting that everything is fine and we are good to go. Right, let me give you a bit of an update as to what's happening on the channel, but with the interview with Phil Palmer that I'm trying to edit together as well, because I'm having to try and find time around the normal videos that I do, and I spent probably about, I don't know, 3 to 5 hours so far on editing that video together. The problem is, I mean, it was great, the fact that myself and Phil spoke for over 2.5 hours, but the problem with that is editing that together. I mean, even just watching it through once is obviously going to take me over 2.5 hours, which is quite a sizable chunk of time outside my day, or outside of my day when I usually do my admin and then on the other video days. So I've probably, spent about 5 hours doing it so far, and I'm not very far into it at all. So, I mean, the 5 hours, 2.5 of that was just watching it and then marking as I went through all of the topics that we spoke about. So I'm still not sure as to whether I'm gonna have one video or two videos, maybe release it as a 2-video series, but it's definitely not going to be out this Sunday. I'm going to be aiming for next Sunday, and I'll keep you guys in the loop about this over on Patreon, because I'm thinking maybe if I can record a video or an analysis video on an admin day, that means that then the next day I can do admin, but then the next day I would have already recorded the video, so maybe have a day off there and maybe have an admin day after the day off, which maybe leaves me 2 days in a row to get a little bit of editing done. I'm thinking maybe I can do that. Maybe it's just going to be too much work to do another video in advance, but I will find out next week. Like I said, I'll keep you guys in the loop, but I am going to be trying to aim for next Sunday for the release of the interview, because I'm just eager to get it out there, but then by the same token I don't want to do it too quickly and for it to be a little bit rubbish, so I want to try and maintain some kind of level with the editing. So that's the stage that I'm at with that. As always, I'm going to be continuing on with the videos, and the last video that I did was the halftime show at the Super Bowl, which was the first and the only request that I've had for hip hop and rap. And just to clear something up, that the request that I had, I just work through the requests on my list that I have. Sometimes when I get a request sent to me, it doesn't have a video attached to it. So somebody will say, do an analysis video on hip hop and rap. And that's what this request said. So it meant that I didn't have a video to look at. And whenever that happens, it's a bit more difficult for me to try and find a video that's suitable, especially for a genre that I don't know a lot about and haven't done an analysis of before. But somebody then said, can you do an analysis of the Super Bowl halftime show? And I thought this is a great opportunity to do the 2 requests in one, because then it means I can look at hip hop and rap, and I can also look at the halftime show because it was that genre of music that they did. So that's exactly what I did for that particular analysis video. And unfortunately today, somebody called me a racist in the comment section. The irony was that the person making the comment was actually being racist the other way round, to me and the channel. So thankfully, it's just something that is really obvious when somebody's got an agenda. But Vince actually replied to them and listed all of the black artists that I have featured on the channel. Not that I even look at whether somebody's white, whether somebody's black, whether somebody is mixed race, or it doesn't matter what colour a musician is. I've always said, when you're listening to a song on the radio, you don't hear colour. It's totally irrelevant. So it did annoy me, and I probably did lose my cool a little bit in my reply, because it does annoy me when people try and bring something into it that to me is totally irrelevant to music, and especially when people have got an agenda where they try and push everything down that road of racism. So yeah, it wasn't particularly nice, and it's something that I don't agree with at all on the channel, of people trying to do that, because it's purely music and it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter about anything. We're just here to appreciate music, whoever makes it. So anyway, yeah, the fact they were trying to say, the fact that I'm only now doing an analysis video on rap and hip hop means I'm a racist. Whereas I then said to them, well, what about the video that I did, a week or 2 weeks ago on Il Divo? And they're white. And that's the first video I've done on, a band like that, a group of singers who are singing classical music. Why aren't you saying that I'm racist against white people for not featuring 4 white singers who sing classical music? So yeah, it just doesn't make sense on any level. And if they watch the channel, obviously they're just coming in and having their, obviously trolling and having their say, just trying to push that agenda. But if they watch the channel for any length of time, they would know that this is how it works. I get a request, and it goes on my list, I might not get to it for quite a long time. So this is why it takes a long time to get to particular artists, to get to particular genres, because they were requested a very long time ago, and it just so happens that I've literally had one request for that genre. So that's why it's taken so long to get to. And yeah, they obviously haven't watched this channel at all to see the amount of artists that we have featured, that it is just a broad landscape of music, and that is how I'm going to keep doing things on the channel. I'm not going to change it for anybody, regardless of them saying, oh, I think you should feature more of this particular artist or that particular artist. I'm not featuring more of anyone, I'm just featuring everybody equally, which is how I think it should be, in every sense for music, but just in life generally. Everybody is the same, so let's just get on with getting on. Again, unfortunately, not something we could say at the moment with the things that are going on, but yeah, it does seem like, especially with everything that's going on in the world at the moment, that the animalistic part of the brain, which I thought might actually have been evolved out of, that we've actually, evolution actually put away with that we realized actually it's going to be better for humankind to get on, because then we can progress and not put a ceiling on our progression as to how far we can get with our technology. It makes so much more sense to get together and share rather than try and, steal, take over more land, all that animalistic stuff that I don't know why, it still exists in some people, let alone, a leader of a country. But anyway, let's not. I know on the channel that we don't do anything political, and we're not going to. I'm going to leave that at the door of the live stream. It just so happens that it does tie in with the comment that I mentioned about people having an agenda that is so obvious, and you can see exactly what they're trying to do, but it's not the way I run things. Anyway, thank you guys just for joining me on these live streams. It is appreciated hugely by me that you join me for this kind of thing, that we get to interact live rather than just having the comments section. And I do go through all the comments, as you guys know. I mark all of them to show you that I have read them, but just to be able to see your names and interact with you guys in a live setting is great. So thank you guys, I really do appreciate it. I'm just going to have a look into that super chat window, because we've had a donation in there from Orlando, who has donated $5. Thank you for that, Orlando. Let's have another plug of the mug just to keep the tradition up on the live streams. So thank you for that, Orlando. The $5 donation came with a message, and it says, I am late. Spike the likes, lots of thumbs up. Vote Parisian Walkways. So a Parisian Walkway, Orlando. Thank you for that in your message. And he's done lots of ticks as well, but let me have a little look into that, because it is Don't Slow Down that is still winning. And I mean, technically the song is Parisian Walkways. That's what I think, that's what I've spelled it as. So but anyway, thank you for that, Orlando. And Brianna has donated $10 as well. Thank you for that. And the message is, hello everyone, I'm not feeling well and the news has saddened me, but this show lifts my spirits and it's great being here, with lots of hearts. So thank you for that, Brianna, and I hope that you feel better soon. And yeah, it's not really a good news time at the moment, unfortunately, in the world, but we'll just try and keep as positive as is possible in these situations, and yeah, just keep the thoughts and the prayers going out for the people that are suffering at the moment. But anyway, thank you for that, Brianna. And Orlando has donated $5 again and says, hello all, I am driving home to New York City from New Jersey. I have a 1-hour drive, but will have the live stream going as I travel. Rock, with lots of rock horns. So thank you again, Orlando, and don't let it put you off your driving. I saw a show on TV yesterday that was a collection of just dash cam footage, I think it's called, and some of the driving that's going on is ridiculous, and some of the crashes that are going on are ridiculous. Just people traveling at, I mean, especially the worst was on ice. ice and tyres don't mix well, especially when you drive at speed. So of course there were pile-ups because people were driving too fast and then they couldn't stop. And even when they weren't driving too fast, of course when you're on ice and you're going downhill, you don't get any grip, so you're going to smack into other cars, and yeah, it was ridiculous. So again, just videos of people that aren't quite thinking as clearly as they should be. I mean, especially here in the UK, whenever we get any snow or ice, pretty much everything just grinds to a halt because we haven't got the types of cars to deal with it. A lot of people do have 4x4s, but they don't have like chains on the wheels or anything, so even in those you can still lose control, especially at high speed, which people just tend to just drive too fast, even in the rain, where as soon as they lose control, they don't have the ability to then correct. And the amount of times somebody will just lose the back end and they won't steer in the direction of the slide against it, they'll steer the other way, and of course you're just going to spin out. So yeah, I mean, fortunately I've spent a lot of time on games like Gran Turismo, and this is the interesting thing, that because I played and play, well, I don't play a lot of games now, I wish I had the time to, but I used to play a lot of games as a kid, so it meant that I was playing a game called Gran Turismo where you would, if you lost control of the car, obviously you'd have to correct it on a control pad. I then advanced to buying a steering wheel, which meant that now I was correcting the skids, doing, you know, rally racing, all that kind of stuff with a steering wheel and pedals. So, you know, unbeknownst to me, I was learning how to control a slide without actually ever controlling a slide. And I know that I was learning to do it because when I was 19 or 20 years of age, I was driving, probably shouldn't say this on the live stream, I was driving my mum's car, and I was with one of my friends at uni, and we were driving, and it was cold and it was icy, but it looked like the roads were fine. I wasn't driving fast at all, but it must have been black ice because it looked like the road was fine. So anyway, we were going around a corner and I lost the back end of the car, and my instinct as the back end went out and my car started now pointing towards the left, where it just so happened that the street we were driving on had cars parked on the left hand side and cars parked on the right hand side, so there was no space to go off anywhere. And instinctively, because of all of my gaming, I did correct the skid, so now we are traveling down the road sideways, but sideways going straight, so we're not making contact with any of the cars. And as soon as the grip caught in again, I then obviously flicked it the other way to now straighten up, and a little bit of the other way to now counteract the skid going the other way, and I managed to straighten it up, and we continued jollily on our way. And we were fine. Just thinking whether jollily is even a word. But anyway, yeah, a bit of an adrenaline rush. That's the one thing that you don't get when you're playing a game, because you know it's not real. Whereas when you know it's real, you do get the adrenaline, but I still had that subconscious muscle memory, exactly the same as playing guitar, that kicked in automatically in that scenario, which I was very thankful for. But anyway, thank you for the donations tonight. And Orlando, as I said, be careful, don't do what I did, just make sure that you do drive carefully. Caroline has donated $20 as well, so thank you for that. And I believe that is a straight up donation, so I'm going to scroll down. It looks like there is no message with that, so thank you for that, Carol Ann. Right, we're almost at 20 to 1 here in the morning. So what I'm going to do is have a little look into that poll for the cover. And it looks like we are at 58% for Don't Slow Down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end the poll for tonight. So I can just see that Laurie is saying jollily. Yeah, I think that might be just something that I've made up. But happily is probably more apt, or the word that my brain probably wanted. But I had a vision of us looking jolly in the car, the fact that we'd actually survived that skid. So anyway, we were happily jolly in the car, and we got away with it. But anyway, a huge shout out, by the way, to the moderators, Laurie in there, Carla, Neil, Susan and Dennis as well. Their names are in blue, and you'll see them going through the live chat room. And there is the vote for tonight, 57% for Don't Slow Down. So thank you guys for voting for that. 251 votes tonight. And keep on hitting that thumbs up, because we have already smashed the likes goal, but we'll see where we can take that likeometer tonight. Thank you guys. That means we will be having the pick roulette next week. Stay tuned for that, for tonight's pick roulette. But for next week's pick roulette, you'll be able to enter that at the end of this live stream. I'll tell you when the entries, or when entry is open for that. So we'll jump into this cover, my version of Don't Slow Down by Mr. Mister. I hope you guys enjoy it, and never fear, I will be going into the PayPal window. I'll try and sort that out while this cover is playing. So I will catch you guys in a second. Rock! And there we have it. That was my version of Don't Slow Down by Mr. Mister. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I really love that song. It's one of those, I mean, Mr. again, one of those bands that was part of my childhood, but that particular song is also on my workout playlist, and yeah, doing that cover was a lot of fun, but I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. So I think I've managed to figure out the PayPal thing that's going on. So just jumping into there, let me get that up on screen so you guys can see it. I think the first donation that we had in tonight was at actually 20 to midnight, and it was Steve. So thank you for this, Steve, and it was for £5. And the message is, I am sorry my messages got muddied up on Tuesday. I was referring to your points on distortion and the evolution of the metal sound. I was wondering if that discussion could go back as Link Ray, The Who, Black Sabbath, MC5 and Hendrix on forward. So thank you for that, Steve. And yes, I mean, certainly I would class the heavier genres of music coming in the 60s. I mean, pretty much that was the first push for having more attitude and pushing the boundaries of volume, but just the sound of the guitar, slashing the cone of the amp and trying to get a nastier sound out of the amplifiers. But with Jimi Hendrix, for example, distortion, and I mean the fact that he detuned to E flat as well was one of those things that would then become commonplace to get the heavier sound, to get your low E string to now be E flat. And pretty much with the heavier genres, that is something that pretty much was a theme, that you'd have E flat, and then you go down to drop D, and then you get even heavier, you go down to D flat, sometimes all the way down to C. So with the really heavier genres, then you start to have bands that are using not a 6-string guitar but a 7-string guitar and an 8-string guitar, so that they can take that low string down as far as they want, pretty much. So you're down into that bass guitar range, but on your guitar, your electric guitar. So yeah, it's something that I would say that especially in the 60s it was starting to go along that way. Pretty much before then, I think it was going to be as much the attitude that you got was going to be more from the performances and the attitude of the artist, rather than having the technology that you could then make a really aggressive sound with the technology that existed at that point. Because I mean, we're talking about, if you're talking about speakers, it's something that I've mentioned in the 60s about the Beatles being ahead of their time for the technology that existed, and most of the reason that they stopped playing live was because it was pointless, because they were musicians who wanted to play their songs in front of their fans, but the fans were so loud they couldn't hear themselves, and the fans couldn't hear the music, so they thought, well, what's the point? The technology doesn't exist to make us loud enough for everyone to hear us and for us to hear ourselves. So that meant that they had to take a lot of time off just for the technology to catch up, so that they could actually play at a stadium, and the stadium could play the sound of the band, and it could be at a volume where everyone could hear it. So this is the thing, and if you are trying to play loud and aggressively, having that attitude wasn't possible with the technology. Because if you imagine it, that you've got a stadium full of people cheering and screaming, and you're trying to play a really heavy riff in E flat, but nobody can hear it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much attitude you've got. Nobody can hear what you're playing. So you've got to wait for that technology to catch up. But yeah, I think definitely the bands that have been mentioned there, lay that foundation for, classic rock, hard rock, metal, because there's just one just evolved from the next, and it just all started that early on. So I mean, when I've said about Alice Cooper as well, having that attitude and the shot rock and all that kind of stuff, that was actually in the late 60s. So going earlier than that, you can imagine that it did build up to that point. So to answer it in a word, yes, I would consider those bands and artists to be laying the foundation for everything that came on later. And you could argue that going even further back, even to we're talking about the old school blues artists, that the British invasion and the bands that were influenced by them then took over to America. So you can go even further back to, could you argue that the blues was really the foundation of everything that then came from that? And you could argue that yes, a hell of a lot of music came from the blues, and then all of the other genres have then moved away from the blues, and then rock and roll, and all of these things that were just one iteration or another iteration of a particular genre, and going in different directions, how one influences the next, and it's this tree that then just grows branches, and forever was evolving musically from what came before, which is always obviously the case. Even with the old school blues guys, they were listening to local musicians and players that might not have been well known, but they were influenced by them, picked up a few techniques, and then had the spotlight from themselves, and it actually came from before. But anyway, thank you, Steve, for that. Again, something that we could talk about for a very long time, but just scrolling up, because Suzanne has donated £14.29. Thank you for that, Suzanne. And let me just scroll down, because the message is, so thankful for you, Phil. You are an amazing port in the storm. So thank you for that, Suzanne, for those kind words. And if you see my arms shaking at the left, it's because I've now got my watch. Because of my bad wrist, I haven't had my watch on my left wrist. I've been having it on my right wrist. But I've now realised that my left wrist is obviously thinner than my right wrist. So, I mean, it's probably the fact that I've been doing nothing with my left arm because of the wrist. It's just been in a support, so it's probably just degenerated. And now it's really skinny and very lean. I mean, that's the great way of putting it. It's a bonus that you've got a very low fat percentage, but it's very lean at the moment. So it keeps on kind of moving around on my wrist, which is kind of annoying me. I have to get used to it. Anyway, thank you, Suzanne, for that donation. And just scrolling up, because Laura has donated £7.14. Thank you for that, Laura. The message is, I don't think that you have a future as a furniture mover. Stick with music, my friend. So thank you for that, Laura. I definitely will. The irony is that I actually got my parents to help with the sofa, lifting that, but doing my arm in was actually under this desk. It's quite a deep desk, and unfortunately the USB ports are under the desk and behind the computer, which means that when I do get under the desk, I have to reach, and obviously I can't demonstrate with that arm, but I had to reach under with a full, I don't know if you can see my arm fully extended here, but I was reaching underneath and trying to push push a USB port into the, obviously it's really awkward, and the amount of force that I used to push it in, obviously on an outstretched arm, my tendon in the middle of my arm said, we're not designed to do that, especially because you haven't been exercising. So yeah, I didn't have the strength to do it, unfortunately. And rather than the muscle, maybe tearing a muscle fibre or two, it was the tendon that I did a bit of damage to. So bit of a pain, because I thought obviously the danger is going to be with the sofa, so I won't do that. But then it turns out the danger was getting underneath this desk. But it's just one of those things. It's collateral damage for a video that I had to set up myself and get organised. And, because I do everything myself, it was unavoidable, I think. So I just had to do it, and I will get over it, hopefully, fingers crossed, in the near distant future, and it won't take too long to get over. But thank you for that, Laura, for that donation. And Richard has donated $20 as well. Thank you for that, Richard. And the message is, hi Phil, show those likes totals if you haven't already. Thanks. So thank you for that, Richard. And that was at 20 past midnight tonight, so maybe I hadn't shown the total, but we are just smashing the likes, as I said earlier, 375. So thank you everyone for hitting that thumbs up. You can still do that. If you're watching on catch up as well, you can still hit that thumbs up, and it would be much appreciated if you could do that, just to get this live stream out there a little bit more. We can get a bit more of a community going, which is already amazing. All of you guys that are joining in on the Tuesday night and the Saturday night, we do live stream always at 12 midnight Greenwich Mean Time on a Tuesday and a Saturday. But thank you, Richard, for that donation. And Kevin has donated £1, and it says, the reason that I intake breath is because I saw Shrove Tuesday, which of course means pancakes. And tonight for dinner, I had 2 rashers of bacon, 2 eggs, and a piece of toast. So I am quite hungry at the moment. So yeah, Shrove Tuesday. I think my mum mentioned this like a week ago, but then I've totally forgotten about it. And man, a pancake or 2 would be very nice at the moment. Even better, which I haven't made before, are protein pancakes. And I know from a store that we have here, or maybe it's all over the world, but it's called My Protein, that they do a pancake mix. I should so buy that so that I can eat, so I can do a workout and then have pancakes afterwards. That'd be great. Or even some pancakes just before and in between. That would be, I'm going to make a mental note to get some pancake mix when I'm back in training. And yeah, by the way, it's my birthday coming up, not too far away, a couple of months. And I've made a mental note, I think from a live stream, almost 8 or 9 months ago, where somebody said about having a cookie cake, and I still have that. It's constantly in my brain. You can see how sad my brain is that it has made a note of getting a cookie cake for my birthday, because I used to get those as a kid and I just really want one. And I know most people would just go out and buy a cookie cake, but I always torture myself and think, right, you can just have that once a year. That's your treat. And I'm already looking forward to it, and yeah, my birthday's still in a couple of months' time, so I will definitely have that. I'll take a picture or something. Did I take a picture of a cookie cake previously? I might have done on a live stream. So, was that my last birthday? Maybe it's just something that I'm so looking forward to. I can now see an image of a cookie cake in my head. Anyway, thank you for that, Kevin. Now getting me talking about food. Always talking about food when I'm hungry. But anyway, thank you, Karen, as well, who has donated £3.57. The message is, "Hi, Phil. I'm sorry that your hand is in pain. I think I can relate. I have mild carpal tunnel syndrome, for which I'm treated by a chiropractor. I use a TENS machine which relieves pain and can be found on Amazon. Sending healing wishes, Karen." So thank you for that. And if that is wave therapy, I have already made that purchase. So I have that on my arm 3 times a day, 10 minutes for each of those applications. So yeah, I'm really obviously doing everything that I can to get it healed as soon as possible. So yeah, that wave therapy, I'm already kind of jumping on that bandwagon. But thank you for that. And yeah, carpal tunnel syndrome, I think is a little bit different. And it's not my hand that's in pain, it's just my arm, which isn't in pain when the arm's supported and I have a bend in my elbow. It's fine because obviously there's no tension on the tendon at that point. This tendon is attached to my bicep and it's on the inside of the arm. I think a lot of people have problems on the outside of the arm with tennis elbow, but mine's on the inside of the arm. So it means that any like extension of the arm, that's when it's going to say, oh, hang on, we're now supporting weight with the bicep. And in order to do that, you need that tendon to be able to take that weight. And I don't think I have that at the moment, but like I said, I've been 3 days now, or getting towards the end of my 3rd day, of being really strict, wearing this support, this sling, and having my arm effectively like that for about, 18 hours of the day, and I have it like that when I'm sleeping as well. So I and just keeping all of the pressure off the tendon to try and get it to heal as much as possible. I think what I really need to do is sleep more, because that's when growth hormone is released, and that's the quickest time that's the most that you're going to be healing, is when growth hormone is released when you fall asleep. So I'm going to have to try and force myself, or sleep, and then when I wake up, just try and sleep maybe for an hour more to get a tiny bit more growth hormone released while I'm sleeping. But anyway, I will do my best. Unfortunately, sometimes sleep is not one of those things that I get a lot of, because I'm not a very good sleeper. I have this watch that just tells me how I'm sleeping as well. I didn't even know it did that, but it's telling me how I'm sleeping, and it turns out it takes me on average 45 minutes, maybe a bit longer, to fall asleep in general, which it then tells me I've had about 6 hours sleep. But obviously I thought I'd get about 7 hours because that's what I planned for, but I just don't go to sleep straight away. Anyway, thank you for that, Karen. Let's not talk about sleep cycles. Geraldine has donated £7.14. Thank you for that. And it is a straight up donation. And Marge has donated £1.43. Thank you for that, Marge. That's a straight up donation as well. Carla's donated £7.69. Thank you for that, Carla. That's another straight up donation. And Janet has donated £7.14 as well. Thank you for that, Janet. And we have a message this time. The message is, I find your kindness toward those you analyse in your videos refreshing, respectful and professional. So thank you for that, Janet, for the kind words and the kind donation as well. And we have another donation that's come in from Jay Smith, who's donated £100. Thank you so much for that very kind donation. Let me just mention that if you do accidentally donate too much and trust me, I get it, typing in, or even worse, I have problems on my Android tablet where just you accidentally press the wrong number, or you press on something and it's not what you meant to. And sometimes I tell you, the most hilarious, it wasn't actually hilarious at the time, the most hilarious accidental press I've had this week is I was answering a comment in the YouTube comments on one of my videos, and I went to press on the smiley face, and for some reason next to it was a middle finger, basically an offensive middle finger gesture. And I'm going to blame my sister for this because she sent me a message on WhatsApp, and she, you know, with humour, she was saying something really nice about her birthday card or something like that, and then she did a smiley face and then did the middle finger as a joke at the end. So I did a laughing face and I did the middle finger in reply. So the problem is that on my phone, it's now remembered, I don't know why, but it's remembered the middle finger. I used it once, and that was on the 11th of February. So it was actually quite a while ago now, on my sister's birthday. So I used it then and it's remembered it. So it means it's put it next to my smiley face that I usually use. So I answered a comment and I said either thanks, or I referenced it might have been them asking whether I'd done an analysis video on a particular artist. I said yes, they're here on the channel somewhere, and then I did a middle finger because it loaded where the smiley face was, it loaded the middle finger, and I pressed that and I pressed send because I did it so quickly and sent the middle finger. I obviously instantly edited it and did the smiley face, but it means that somebody for a millisecond would have seen my comment, the most offensive answer you could ever put. So there you go, there's one of my accidental presses. But anyway, just in relation to the donation, if it was accidental, we can sort it out after this on PayPal. But thank you so much for that very kind donation. But even if it was an accidental one, thank you for the donation, full stop. I really do appreciate it. So and that just led me into a bit of an anecdote there, but thank you Linda Z as well, who has donated £5. So thank you for that, Linda Z, in the house tonight. And the message is, hi Phil, using jollily gave me a chuckle, so I looked it up. It is actually in the dictionary. Yes. So my brain has not let me down there. Jollily. So that is a word that I think my brain did make that up. I didn't know it was an actual word, but thankfully my knowledge of English led me down the right path, and we now have a fun word for the live streams. So thank you for that, Linda Z. And Deborah has donated £2 as well. Thank you for that, Deborah. And the message is, I donated pre-live stream, hope you get it soon. So thank you for that. And that was a £2 donation. I tell you what, I'll get this off the screen, have a quick search for that donation that came in, if it did beforehand. Sometimes it does take a while to come through, and this was Here we have it. Yes, so it was for £5. So thank you for that, Deborah. And the message was, congrats on 235,000 subs, and in memory of the late Gary Brooker of Procol Harum, who we have lost. So thank you for that, Deborah. And yes, I heard this sad news on the channel. Actually, it was somebody wrote it in a comment. But thank you, Deborah, for that donation, and also for mentioning that on the live stream. And yes, with that particular donation, let me get that up on screen as well so you guys can see it and scroll down. And that was obviously, I started the donations just a little bit before that, so I started them a little bit too late. So thank you for that, Deborah, for pointing that out. And I think I have got all of the donations that came in beforehand. And let me just scroll back. Yes, it was. So the other ones are from today. So thank you for all of the donations. I'm just going to scroll up because one of them has just come in on PayPal again. Just as I say that, Suzanne donated £14.29. Thank you for that, Suzanne. And the message is, I always thought of Xanadu and Olivia Newton-John, John, ELO and others as ahead of its time. Is this an album you've explored? So thank you for that. And it's not an album that I have explored. So definitely one of those that I will make a note of. And I mean, when we're talking about, ELO, for example, they're one of those bands that actually I think I referenced them recently on the channel when I was talking about Talkbox and having a sound of a voice, but it being put through a keyboard. So you get that mechanical sound of the voice, and it's just unfortunately the case that now with auto-tune, we're starting to sound like Talkbox, but back in the day with ELO, they were using it as an effect and bringing it to the mainstream, even though a lot of people using it with guitar as well, because again, you put the tube in your mouth. I'm sure you guys all know what it is by now with the videos that I've done, but just pushing the boundaries of technology and recording techniques, production, bands like that were ahead of their time because they were not only just writing great songs, performing great songs live, but they were doing things in the studio, and you can throw the Beatles into this conversation as well. They were doing things in the studio that were different, and they were innovative, is that the right word, in order to break new ground with the songs that they were recording. So they had that double whammy of great songs, but great production as well, that just made every song so interesting to listen to. But anyway, thank you, Suzanne, for that. And that is something that I will try and check out in the future. But thank you for that donation. So we are going to be jumping into the pick roulette for tonight. Let me just quickly address the question on Patreon, even though I'll have to do a really quick answer. It's 7 minutes past 1. Really quick answer to this because let me try and find where this question was. It was from Joe. So thank you for this, Joe. I did a quick answer to this last night, just letting you know that I would address it on tonight's live stream. But it was a question about, I think, recording and the way that I do things, the way that I write songs. I do have a video here on YouTube somewhere that goes through the gear that I use to record. My process, is pretty much what I have said in previous live streams, just starting with drums, bass. Well, if I'm writing a song, I start with the guitar riff and work out either guitar riff or a series of chords, and then work out a melody over the top of the chords, put that all together. But when I come to recording, then I'll start with drums and bass, and then put the rhythm guitar down, and then any vocals or lead guitar, all of the what I'd class as more in-depth melodic content I do towards the end. So having the melody worked out for the vocal, obviously I'll put down a guide vocal, but yeah. And let me just have a quick look down. It was a long comment, so I'm going to quickly try and read through, but hopefully I've answered your question in relation to the recording. But it is one of those videos that you can look up here on YouTube. Just type in probably Wings of Pegasus recording video. I can't remember even what I called it, but I'll tell you what, I haven't got time to look it up in between now and the end of the live stream, but I will try and find out what that video is, and I'll message you over on Patreon. So thank you for that, Joe. So let me get everything back organised on screen. By the way, if you want to get involved over on Patreon, then you can do. That's where the message was that Joe sent to me, because you can message me there directly if you want to. It's patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus, and you'll get your name on the live streams, as we always do with these lovely people at the bottom of the screen. So let me get rid of that. Right, we are going to be jumping into now. I don't think we've got any pictures, so let's jump into the pick roulette for tonight. We haven't picked a top tip, so we'll have to do that as we get into it. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a second. Rock! Okay, let's get the wheel up on screen, and there it is. Can I move this down so it's a little bit more centralized? There it is. Right, the darkest segments here are the t-shirts. If you haven't seen a pick roulette before, if we land on one of those, we'll go to the t-shirt roulette. If we land on a name, then that person is going to win a signed Wings of Pegasus pick. So I haven't picked a top tip, and we're going to be picking Paul. Let's do Paul McKenzie. Okay, Paul, there you go. And Paul has been in the super chat window tonight as well. So Paul is now our top tip for tonight. So commiserations to Paul, because it means that he probably won't win, because I haven't ever picked a winner before. Right, let's give the wheel a spin and see who is going to win tonight's pick roulette. And again, just to reiterate, you have to be in it to win it, meaning that you have to be in the live chat room when the pick roulette is happening in order to pick up your prize if you do win. Right, we are slowing down. Can we see Paul's name anywhere? I can't see it at the moment. And oh, there's Paul. Oh, I can see it at the top here, but we're not going to get there. Unfortunately, we almost did. So we have... Is it going to get as far as Lisa, or maybe even a t-shirt? Hey, and there we go. So we haven't had a t-shirt for ages. Congratulations, winner on your autographed guitar pick. So we are now going to get rid of this, and as if by magic, we should now make the change over to this wheel, which isn't very centralized. So let me move it over here, because this is now the t-shirt roulette. And actually, if you can let me know when we land on the t-shirt, then should we have another spin of the pick roulette afterwards? Anyway, that's actually something that Carla, if you can message in the live chat room, that would be great, to see if we're going to have another spin or not. But if not, let's have a spin of this wheel. It's still not centralized. Let me move that across a little bit. So we're going to spin this, and I don't know. I tell you what, I'm not going to pick somebody on this wheel, because I don't want to put a curse on anybody. So here we go. We are spinning the t-shirt, and this is the signed Wings of Pegasus custom made t-shirt that somebody is about to win. So we are slowing down, and let's have a look at the names going around. We have Chris, Myra, Rocker Girl going down, DJ Kate, Jennifer, Maiden Chase, Tracy, Susan and Dennis, so close. And it's going to be Kathy, is it? And it is. So congratulations to Kathy, because you are the winner tonight. So if you can let yourself be known to Carla in the live chat room, that would be fantastic. Kathy is the winner of the signed Wings of Pegasus custom made t-shirt, and commiserations to everybody else. But if you want to if you want to get your name on the Wings of Pegasus pick roulette for next week, stay tuned. But I can see we are going to be having a pick. Well, we're going to have another spin of the pick roulette, because somebody's got to win the guitar pick, obviously the signed guitar pick. So even though this says congratulations winner on your autographed guitar pick, we are going to go back to the pick roulette. So congratulations to Kathy. And by the way, because the t-shirt, I think I remember this correctly, because the t-shirt is a larger item, I think there is a little bit of payment that's required for the sending of the t-shirt, but that is something that you can organize with Carla. Carla will talk you through everything that needs to happen for you to get your hands on that signed Wings of Pegasus custom made t-shirt. And it's not going to be an extortionate fee to send it, but just to let you know. Thank you, Kathy, for entering. And everybody, let's go back to, and let me centralize this. There we go. Maybe is that it? There we go. So let's now give this a spin, and we'll see which name this is going to land on. Hopefully, it's not going to land on a t-shirt again. But maybe if we, maybe we'll just be spinning t-shirts for the rest of time, because we are quite late here. It is 14 minutes past midnight in the UK, but we are slowing down. So let's see if anybody is going to win. And it is slowing down. I don't think it's going to get as far as the t-shirt this time. So it is going to be AR or Vicky. Is it going to get as far as Squeaky79? And it is. So congratulations to Squeaky79, because you have won the Wings of Pegasus signed pick. So if you can let yourself be known to the I'm just reading Carla's message. Pick a pick winner, Wings of Pegasus. Thank you for that message, Carla. But Squeaky79, if you can let yourself be known to Carla in the live chat room, that would be fantastic, so that she can organize everything with you in order to get that sent off to you. But anyway, so I'm just reading through. I fear Phil is needing to go night. So thank you for that. I don't know what I'm in a bit of a blur as to which wheel we have done. We did a pig roulette. We landed on the t-shirt. We had the t-shirt. Kathy then won. We then did the pig roulette again. Squeaky79 won. I think I'm up to date in my head as to what's gone on and what's happened. So I think because it said congratulations, winner on your autographed guitar pick on the other wheel, it's kind of thrown me off because there wasn't a winner. So why did it say that on the screen? I don't know. Anyway, let me now get rid of that on the screen. Congratulations to the winners. Commiserations to those who lost. And hopefully you managed to follow what I was doing through there. Maybe I lost everybody. But let me just reset and say the entry for next week's Pick Roulette is now open, which means that you have to, if you want to actually be on that roulette wheel next week, you have to type @Carla and tag Carla Murray's name in the live chat room and type I agree, and I'll press enter and just follow what everyone's doing in the live chat room. I can see Carla says ignore what it says. Okay, right, I know that for the future to ignore what the message is on the screen, and I think that's probably what threw me off as to what was happening with the winners, because there wasn't actually a winner. Anyway, if this is your first foray into the Pick Roulette, just make sure you copy what everyone's doing in the live chat room to get your name on next week's Pick Roulette wheel. Just do that. Entries are open, as you can now see. So, let me just catch my breath and get over to Patreon to see if anything was requested, because I want to leave you guys a bit of time, because we are quite late in the live stream. I think we need another few minutes to have a bit of opportunity to type I agree and for you guys to do that. Oh, by the way, let me just look into that super chat window, because we've had another donation in there. Actually, we've had a few, so let me just address these. The message is we've just had a straight up donation from Diane. So thank you for that. That was for $20, and that was after Carol Ann. So thank you for that, Diane. Jennifer donated $5. Thank you for that, Jennifer. The message is, Phil, speaking of doing the amp thing, slicing the cone, I know the Kinks did it too. Would that ruin an amp? So thank you for that, Jennifer. And, well, yes, that's exactly what you're doing. You're hoping to ruin the amp to the point where you haven't quite totally ruined the amp, but you're trying to get a different vibration going on in the cone so that it sounds distorted. Obviously it's a risk because you might just totally ruin your sound, but you know, it's something that I'm sure a lot of bands experimented with, just maybe denting the cone a little bit rather than totally slicing it. But yes, it would ruin the amp, and that's why it's ruining it to a particular level, but hopefully not totally ruining it. But thank you for that, Jennifer. I'm sure that a lot of bands totally ruined their amps trying to get a nastier sound out of them. So thank you for that, Jennifer. And Colleen has donated $19.99. Thank you for that. And the message is, Phil, if your favourite rock band needed a new lead singer and offered it to you, would you accept? So thank you for that, Colleen. And I don't know. I don't think that I would front another band just because I do my own thing, and singing somebody else's songs, I mean, it would be great maybe just to do something, maybe just do a song, or maybe just do it for one gig. But in terms of my own music, for example, if I'm out touring with a band that I'm a fan of, it means that I can't send out my own CDs that people are ordering through my website. So that very much is my focus for me, sending out my CDs and getting my music out there when it is ordered and when it is required. So it is something that I do on my admin days on a Monday and a Thursday, so it's a regular thing for me, and just keeping on top of everything. And it would mean that I have to kind of stop what I'm doing here as well, whereas I'm very much into what I'm doing. And I think it's very much the approach of an independent artist, that you know that every other artist, every other band that you might be a fan of, they're just doing what they do in the same way that I'm just doing what I do. And pretty much becoming a singer of another band, I think that's something for people who don't really have their own music and they just enjoy singing covers and doing other. I mean, covers are great and they're good fun to do, but not something that I would then front a cover band, for example, because it doesn't really, scratch my itch. Does that even make sense? I guess it does, but having that desire to do something original, but for you to get your own music out there for people to at least listen to it. So no, I probably wouldn't, but I would turn up to a gig if they asked me to, because it'd be great just to perform with them in a particular venue just for one night. But anyway, thank you for that, Colleen. H.A. Fowler has donated $20. Thank you for that, and says, you are amazing with the guy dancing. So thank you for that. Wanda has donated $10, straight up donation. Thank you for that, Wanda. Angela has donated $15 as well. Thank you, Angela. The message is, I thank you everything. You are our guiding light and healing of souls. I'm in New York. Love to you. So thank you for that, Angela. And I hope everything's great in New York tonight or this afternoon or whatever the time is over there. Is it maybe getting into evening time? I don't know. For some reason, I think it's 6 hours or something like that behind, but I might just be making that up. Anyway, thank you, Paul, again, who has donated $2 and says, I jollily make this donation. This is a happy place. So thank you for that, Paul. And using our new favourite word, Kenda Links has donated $5. Thank you for that. And the message is, just subscribed 3 days ago in Portland, Oregon. Any popular singer who you've covered who wouldn't have made it without auto-tune? Tar. And I don't know the story behind a lot of the artists who I've featured that have used auto-tune. What I will say is, more often than not, the people that have made it and been successful have had the work ethic in order to make it and be successful. And, the talent part of it is actually a very small part of it. You've got so many people who might not have had the natural talent of other musicians, but they worked harder than those musicians. Therefore, they managed to get their music out there, managed to get a record deal, managed to cut a few albums, and just persevered with it. And I know myself, being an independent artist, that there are so many times that I could have given up and was very close to giving up on one particular occasion, but I just thought I'm going to keep on doing it. And, at the age of 19 is when I started playing in bands, playing live, and that was 20 years ago now. So I'd say over the last 3 or 4 years it's become popular, and just being able to do it full time, which is great. It means that that's a 15-year journey of plugging away at it, literally day in, day out. Everybody doesn't see it for the last 20 years of doing it day in, day out. And as you guys will know, in the last 3 years, I haven't missed a live stream, and I did a new video every night for 2.5 years. So it's just that literally day in, day out, working hard. And a lot of that is working hard at your own ability, like learning to sing, getting better at singing, learning to play the guitar, getting better at playing the guitar, learning to produce, getting better at producing. All of these things that I've been doing since the age of 19, learning to edit videos, getting better at editing videos, learning about filming, getting better at filming videos, lighting, getting better at lighting. All of the things that you can imagine that go into a record label and a band or an artist, that's what I've spent the 20 years doing, learning how to do everything that everyone does at a record label. I mean, pretty much even independent artists now will have a team of people. I mean, if they're in a band and there's 3 of them or 4 of them in the band, already they've got a 4 times advantage over what I can do, because they could maybe have a day off themselves and just have every 4th day, and on the other days they can be working at social media, they could be getting the videos together, they can be uploading to YouTube. They can do 4 times what I can, and more often than not they'll have a team of people, even 4 or 5 people, which means that they can do 10 times. And they'll have the camera guys who are doing the cameras, they'll have the lighting guys who are doing the lighting, and any problems that I get with the sound, for example, I've got to sort it out myself. So yeah, it is something that takes a long time to get good, or at least proficient at everything, so that you can do it all yourself. But as I say, for me, it's been the most effective way for me to do it, so that I do have control of everything, including publishing rights on my music, which means I'm in control of everything. Literally everything you see is just me, and that's how I prefer to run it. So anyway, I mean, the buck stops with me. So if there's anything wrong, I know it's my own fault and I can rectify it. So anyway, thank you for that donation, Kenda Links, and thank you for H.A. Fowler as well for that second $2 donation. It says well done, so thank you for that. Right, we are going to be calling things to a close pretty soon. Last call for the live chat room to type I agree, tag Carla Murray's name in there in order to get your name on next week's Pick Roulette. So do that, last chance. Nora has donated £15 as well. Thank you for that, Nora. And the message is, can you shed light on the roots of I agree for the Pick Roulette? So thank you for that, Nora. And it's just agreeing to go on the wheel. It's just something that Carla can look at, and it's going to be different to every other comment, because Carla looks at the live chat room at every single comment, and anyone that's tagged her and said I agree, she then puts that name on the wheel. And only do it once. That's part of the rules. But the I agree is just so it stands out, but also just to agree to have your name on the screen. I guess that's something that people... I think it's a given that if you're on a wheel that's going to be on the screen and you've agreed to be on the wheel, or if you want to be on the wheel, then you've got to assume that your name's going to be on the wheel and everyone can see that. So I guess it's just agreeing to be on the wheel. But yeah, you're not really agreeing to anything. It's not as if we're going to start spam emailing you about great Pick Roulette deals that are going on. Yeah, it's just something to make it stand out in the live chat room. But anyway, so that is now the last chance to get your name on the Pick Roulette wheel next week. Type I agree and tag Carla Murray's name in that. So we are going to be calling things to a close. I'm just going to talk for maybe a minute or two, so that you leave, or I'm leaving a little bit of time for your comment to go through. I haven't seen any more I agrees at the bottom of the screen. So we might be okay to move on and I was going to say call it to a close. It's almost 1:30 in the morning here. So anyway, we are going to be calling it to a close. Thank you everyone for... Oh, I can see Book Heart 2 has just written, I agree. I think that might be the last one to get through. I'll wait for that to go through the live chat room. But thank you guys for joining me tonight. And I'm going to be doing another video tomorrow night. And we're going to be live streaming as always on Tuesday night, so join me then if you do get a chance to, because we have a pick roulette as well. It's going to double your chances of winning if you tune in on a Tuesday night as well. I'm going to continue with the analysis videos as normal. I'll keep you guys in the loop as to what's going on next week with the video hopefully released on Sunday, that interview with Phil Palmer. And I'll see you guys over on Patreon. Thank you guys for all of your support over there. All of my patrons at the bottom of the screen, you know who you are, but thank you for all of the donations as well. It makes such a huge difference and it is massively appreciated. So thank you guys. Stay safe in this crazy world that we live in at the moment. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the weekend and I will catch you guys at the next one. Rock.